Welcome to Leap Listens. I'm Sarah McGregor.
And I'm Roger Kalis.
Today we are joined by a guest who started his career at Capita as a graduate, moving up the ranks to recruitment marketing director. His experience at Capita saw him manage both strategic and operational candidate attraction and recruitment marketing campaigns across multiple accounts. In 2018, he joined CGI to build and develop a recruitment marketing strategy from scratch, to now being a key component in attracting and recruiting people in the company. A massive fan of the soaps, a celebrity tweeter, and currently backing a campaign to save the long-standing soap Neighbours. Welcome to Leap Listens, David Phillips.
Hello, both. Thank you for that brilliant intro. I loved it. I can't believe it's quite weird to hear a summary of your career like that. But it pretty much did sum it up, and I can't believe it's almost 14 years that I've been in this game now. But I still really enjoy it. And yeah, I am fully behind the Save Neighbours campaign. #SaveNeighbours.
So, David, you'll be disappointed to hear that we won't be discussing Neighbours today in much detail. But we will be talking about storytelling in recruitment marketing. And I think we're all familiar with storytelling in marketing, but tell me how that applies to recruitment marketing at CGI.
Our employer brand strapline is "Be Part of Our Story," which kind of says it all. When I joined, it was originally "Be Part of Something," which was great, but what was that something? So we tweaked it a bit because storytelling is central to employer brand and recruitment marketing. So, I mean, that's where it all started.
And in an employer brand and recruitment marketing context, what's the most important thing that you look for in a story?
I mean, for me, it's an absolute belief that a company should always strive for authenticity. And I guess when you're doing it in a B2B marketing sense, it's by proof points. So in business, I suppose it's a brilliant case study that drove great results. But, case studies have progressed over the years. It's not just the challenge, solution and results. I think, the real case study, the winners now have to drive that emotional connection and be underpinned by truth. So in recruitment marketing, I think we are lucky in applying storytelling because we can use examples of the biggest balls of emotion, and that's people, and authentic stories from authentic people that encourage that emotional connection are key to sort of any attraction strategy, which is why storytelling is central to recruitment marketing.
What have been the benefits of storytelling in recruitment marketing at CGI?
So talent is pretty much what makes a company successful, I think, in terms of reputation and the bottom line. And the storytelling brings both of these elements to the fore. It allows us to talk about who we are. It gives us an identity. It gives us a truth. And hopefully, if that resonates and we get that emotional connection that I mentioned, it will encourage people to want to join the company, meaning we make the best and correct hires for the business in future. So it really can't be underestimated. Sort of for CGI as a company, we're not a household name in the UK. And a lot of the brand-led marketing we do ends up being under employer brand. And as I've said, storytelling sort of underpins our employer brand. So those people that we select to tell their story, to share their story, they act as an introduction to the company for candidates and clients as well. And they're real ambassadors for us, and collectively they tell the story of who we are. And I believe it impacts every corner of the business. So everyone in the business should really care about employer brand as much as I hope is coming across from me right now. But its importance to CGI, as I said, can't be underestimated.
Yeah, that's really true. And what I'm quite interested in is to understand from you, David, is how you get your recruiters and hiring managers to sort of continue and that story and talk about that story to candidates.
I work very closely with the recruitment team in my business, and sort of they're the primary partners that I'm there to deliver value for. And I do put an emphasis on that as well, because I'm here to fulfill a role. But I sell it off the idea that it's an outworking of our culture and opportunity to have pride in the company we work for. And it's really important to get our recruiters on board with that as well, because they're, again, like I said, they're at the front line. They're the ones introducing people to the business, and you want to inspire them with that passion. I love working for a company that has such an impact on citizens' lives and makes me feel as though I'm part of something and making a difference. And it's getting our recruiters is excited by that. And I'd say when I joined, maybe, this wasn't part of the strategy. Recruitment was much more transactional. They were actually previously part of an external RPO company, but had become in-house in CGI just before I joined. So we've all been on a journey together, and it's just been great to see them embrace that and sort of understand the long burn attraction strategies and this storytelling and what it can bring to the business. And it's it's made their job easier, and proof's in the pudding. That's when they'll get behind something, when it makes their job easier. So all these stories that we hunt and weed out in the business, they make up our wider story. And we're able to present that to the market. And I love the fact that we can genuinely do that now. There's so much content coming from different corners of the business, so many stories from different diverse people in the business that we're able to share now. And it's really exciting.
Yeah, that's really good points. And two things actually that you said was, one, it's taking everyone on the journey with you. I think that's absolutely key. And the other is around giving the tools to the right people, to the recruiters, to the hiring managers, and enabling them to be able to share that story in an easy way. I think they're really, really good points. Following on from that, what would you say the challenges are for anyone in recruitment marketing at the moment?
Well, just with reference to your last point, it's really interesting what you said about tools and enabling people to share the story. And that's sort of something we're addressing at the moment. We're getting these stories now. How do we get them out to market? And it's, we work with you guys at Leap on some brilliant paid pay-per-click social strategy campaigns, and they really are spreading the word. But also we want our people to share all this content that we're producing. So we've got a great comms function at CGI. They're supporting. We're tying it into our referral campaign, so we get people to share these stories and hopefully encourage others to join, and then they get a reward. So that is one of the challenges, I'd say. But I think the other challenge that we have is making sure that we stand out amongst the crowd and to keep coming up with new ideas. I guess we've only scratched the surface, and that's been the exciting part of my role when I joined, because there was such a good story to tell about CGI and it wasn't out there yet.
So where do stories take you next?
Now I want to take us to the next level and sort of really do some innovative stuff, and we've been doing that. But for me, I think it's looking beyond just the words and pictures and digging really deep to ensure the spirit of our employer value proposition comes through loud and clear. So that's sort of key in any campaign that we approach going forward. And I think in an answer to how we do that, it's a combination of being representative of the organisation, our leadership, our people, and why they choose to work here. And sort of the commonality between those factors is so important in sort of the representation that I talk of, and sort of pulling out who we are from a piece of content or story that we're telling. So that's critical. And we won't forget that. However fancy and creative the campaigns become, it's those factors that are important and define who we are and sort of the story of our company and how we share that externally. So again, it comes back to that so what question whenever you produce a piece of content, and you've got to challenge how it fits into the bigger picture. And that's the gauge that kind of keeps me on my toes and knows whether we've got it right, or we need to go back to the drawing board or rethink.
Just rewinding back slightly with a couple of questions. Roughly how many people work at CGI in the UK?
In the UK, we've got just under 6,000 members.
And what about globally?
More widely, I think we're about 86,000 people globally. So we're a big company, and there's a lot of different identities between different geographies. But at the core, we have a strong constitution and management foundation and values, which come through, I think, in all of our storytelling and really hit home with the people that work for us, and people who sort of are aligned to those values thrive here. And that's natural with any company. If the values fit, then you're gonna enjoy working there. And I think that's what we really place at the center of things as well when we're talking to members and they're sharing their stories.
So the reason I asked the question was just thinking about the volume of people that you've got there. How do you go about uncovering those stories? How do you extract the stories from people if good ones to tell?
That is a good question, because it's a challenge. It's one of those other challenges that I'll say it's become a lot easier because the word spreads. And I think, like I said, proof points, when you see something's working and it's leading to good hires, the people the hiring managers that are looking to make hires see it's working and want a piece of the action, so to speak. So they like to get involved. But we also work with, across CGI in the UK, we've got a really strong DE&I network where there's lots of networks that sit under it, and we're working really closely with them to make sure that we can share their stories. That's a real focus for us this year because there's so much going. Real passionate people who run these networks. Really happy to be here, and we want to share that. I've said that in approaching a DE&I campaign, it would be great for anyone who's applying for the company to see themselves reflected in a piece of content that's put out there at least once in the recruitment attraction and recruitment process. So, quite a strong objective to put out there, but it's definitely something we should aim for.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that goes nicely back to your first point when we started the conversation, was around authenticity and making sure that your story is authentic. And you do that by speaking to your employees and your members and giving them a voice.
100%. They're the centre of it. They're an absolute centre of it, and core to that authenticity. And like I say, it's that emotional connection. And I love working in recruitment marketing, to be honest, because it is telling people's stories, or in our case, our members' stories. And, it gives a real opportunity to inspire. And I'd like to think we're doing that now with a lot of the work we're doing.
Thank you, David. As you know, we like to keep these podcasts bite-sized. And can you believe that we're actually reaching the end of our bite-size limit?
I can't know. That did go very quickly. I did enjoy it, though.
Good. Well, thank you, David. We're Roger and I will do a little wrap up, but we'll say goodbye. But thank you.
Cheers, David. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Oh, I enjoyed that, Rog. It was a really great chat, wasn't it, with David?
Yeah, it really was. He had some really insightful points, I think.
Yeah, and a very nice chap too.
A thoroughly nice chap.
Yes. I think he's so right, though, that the winning campaigns for recruitment marketing are those that drive an emotional connection. And like he said, the stories of individuals make up the story of CGI. And I think that goes back to the first podcast that we discussed, how it's a great time to be in employer branding, because it means that organisations can get really creative with their own storytelling to attract candidates.
Yeah, it's certainly been my experience that some of the best and most interesting and effective creative work comes out of those stories from real people that work in a place. And if you can get those stories from diverse areas across the business, and David mentioned employee networks, then, well, that's a really good place to start looking.
I think that's it for today. We've got a few more in the pipeline, haven't we?
Yeah, looking forward to those, but I think we're probably reaching our 15-minute mark now, so we'll say goodbye.
Yeah, thanks for listening.